Now, I don't know how else to tell anyone this, but if you need more proof that the LG G4 is just not better than the LG G3, look no further than our next example, rtings.com. Our first example was, again, AV Forums, and now, again, just to give you something independently verifiable from my own word, making it a quantifiable fact, here you can go on rtings.com and use the compare tool. You can do the LG G4 versus the G3, and you can follow along to this video and see everything I'm about to point out. So smack a like on this video because transparency is about to come your way. Now, we're going to look at the HDR hallway photo, and in the HDR hallway photo, we're going to notice a ton more color coming off of the bricks from the left and the right side than what appears on the left and right side, again, to the left on the G4. In addition, we notice that there's just generally more contrast. There's more of a three-dimensional draw, pop, and pull. This gives all the light sources a more, defined look. It's more deliberate than what we have on the LG G4 to the left. In addition, it just has a generally more immersive look because all these things are falling together. Now we can go to our next example where we have the LG G4 versus the G3, and the most telling thing will be the HDR landscape photo at the bottom. You can notice that the mountains in the back are clearer on the G3 to the right. The clouds are more visible. You can notice that you have way more detail in the foliage overall in the landscape. And then you can also notice that the bricks are, again, more colorful. And then there is just this richness to the water that does not exist on the G3. Purity is what I would say. Now, that's not to say that the G3, or rather G4 to the left, isn't doing something better. The G4 has brightness that is better, but again, that brightness comes at the detriment of your color. And if you don't believe that, take a look at this right here. Go to the color gamut section and you can see 96.68% on the G4 versus 97.53% on the G3, indicating everything I just told you, not just being an opinion or me being nitpicky and kind of picking out some BS facts that I think make me sound good or intelligent. These are quantifiable numbers with actual data. And you can see right here, if you go to the Rec 2020, it is more of the same, 71.9% versus 72.4% on the G3. The G3 all around just has the better color. Doesn't matter how small of a percentile you might think it is. In these examples, it makes a huge difference, especially once you consider not only is the color gamut lower, but also the brightness is higher. So you have a lower color gamut and higher brightness on a WOLED, which washes out color, which is how things like this happen. On the 3 degrees of the viewing angle test, you can notice, again, play the video and you'll see color look very washed, very pale on the LG G3, or rather G4. Now, on the G3, it's going to be way more vibrant with a ton more contrast, clarity, and just look like an entirely different TV, leaps and bounds better. Going from something like this to something like that, it's just mind-blowing that they're from the same company. And then you can kind of see when they do like the reflection test, more of the same. It's a lot harder to see with this one. The G4, as you see, is again pale, flat, and then you see just a little bit more of that clarity come back when you go to the G3. But the most telling example, again, is going to be when you use the viewing angle test. Now, the low bitrate content will show you, again, more of what I'm saying, how one is just pale and the other one is sharp and looks amazing. The LG G4 right here, it looks pale. It doesn't have the clarity and the contrast it's supposed to have comparatively to when you go to the G3 where it has all of that stuff. And again, this is that viewing angle video that I was talking about a second ago that you can use on rtings.com. And you can see to the right, the LG G3 looks better. The left, the LG G4, just doesn't look that good. It looks pale and washed of color. And then again, at the top, we have the LG G3, and the bottom, we have the LG G4. And again, you can kind of see the G4 on every level is just failing across the board. This is because it has a lower color volume, not color volume, but rather a lower color gamut. And this is because it is brighter, and that brightness is coming at a detriment to contrast, clarity, and color. I am showing this off to tell you that it is not worth paying the premium. It is not worth spending the extra money. For those who had their heart and soul dead set on it, I would change that. For those who think that maybe I'm being unfair, here are independently verifiable numbers to which, again, every example you are seeing is on rtings.com. Full credit to them for all the examples in this video right now. And you can, again, make your way over to their compare tool to see where I'm in the color gamut section, 71.9% versus 72.4%. Versus, again, a DCI-P3 color coverage of 96.6% and 97.5% on the G3. Better is just better. Now, the reason I am not using my numbers and my figures is because no matter how hard I try, every time I show numbers, tests, it's always I've done something. I'm fudging the numbers. I've changed the saturation. I'm desaturating photos. The excuses I hear from everyday people, I mean, y'all ought to be ashamed of yourselves, quite frankly, because to justify it to that extent to where you think everyone is doctoring something when they're telling you something against what you're hearing from the mainstream people that are literally glowing for the sake of glowing like they do with every product every year to make commissions is just ridiculous. You should be grown enough to know how this industry works, how all industries work. Every celebrity, every darling builds their backs and builds their followings off of your backs, off of your hard work. And you're going to have honest ones and dishonest ones. I'm a dishonest person to those who don't like the truth and want to hear that LG wins. I'm sorry to tell you, but this is not a win. And at the end of the day, as somebody who understands how hard it is to make a living nowadays, I am not going to sit there and recommend the LG G4 over the G3 when it is cheaper and it gives you nearly the exact same thing and better in this example as you are seeing here. So if you have questions, comments, and concerns, leave them in the comment section down below. And as always, I want to thank you guys so much for watching the #1 brand in honesty. And until the next video, see you guys later.